Okay, everyone, welcome. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Ellie Wyndham, the founder of and program manager for the Walking on Other People's Shoes. And I'm based in New York and Brooklyn. And Walking on Other People's Shoes strives to empower women of color voices by providing transformative experiences through storytelling and community. And I'm happy that you are joining us tonight for the Multicultural Children's Book Club. And this is a monthly free virtual book club that is for children, parents, educators, and those who want to take a deeper dive into themed activities and concepts around race, identity, and culture. Additionally, we have themed activities and snack ideas. I want to introduce you to our two facilitators tonight, and Ruth will join us at 7:15, but Mia is here and she is our facilitator for our book club. And Mia blogs on parenting, children's books, and education at pragmaticmom.com. And she's also the co-creator for the Multicultural Children's Book Day. And then it's a nonprofit celebrating diversity in children's books. And she's based in the Boston area. And then Ruth Perez is our activities facilitator. And she is a sophomore in Lehman College, pursuing a bachelor's in speech pathology and audiology, and followed by a master's in speech pathology. And then these degrees will allow her to continue her work in schools, providing extra support in speech to children with special needs. And she's based in the Bronx. So I'm going to pass it along to Mia, who's going to introduce us to the whole theme of this month and the book.
Yay! Thank you all. So Ruth usually is in class, so she finishes class and then runs over so that she can join us. So she's awesome. So I'm excited because April, Autism Acceptance Month, and we have this wonderful book, Wiggles, Stomps, and Squeezes Calm My Jitters Down, by Lindsey Rowe Parker, who is our special guest. Yay!
Yay!
Illustrated by Rebecca Bax-Burgess, who is in the UK. I think it's nice to have a month where we can learn about neurodiversity, because I feel especially in the US, different parts of the country have more awareness around autism spectrum than others, because my sister's in California, and they have sort of a different perception of I think they don't get as diagnosed as readily as we do here in Boston. And I think the more we learn about it and the more we realize that, I would say one is that it's in your community, you'll know a ton of people without realizing that they're neurodiverse. And that two, neurodiversity is like a gift. It has it has some traits that make behavior challenging, but it also has its gifts. And so I think the whole thing about learning about autism spectrum and accepting it, not even just accepting it, but sort of appreciation, And I picked this book because I had learned about it through Multicultural Children's Book Day, because we had done a whole autism month last year, and I just thought it was such a great story. And it's like walking other people. It puts you in their shoes. It makes you understand how someone with autism, how they feel, how they think. And then it makes it easier if you observe that kind of interactions to feel oh, I get it. Because like in my elementary school, we have this program called Understanding Our Differences, and it's like this nonprofit, and they go through all different kinds of, like, neurodiversity, heart, deafness, like dyslexia, like all these different kinds of learning differences, and they have these units that are like very hands-on. Like you get like a dozen moms, and they have speakers from the high school, and they have activities, and you have like a few hours of hands-on learning, and the result is, though, because like not like we have 14 elementary schools in Newton, not all the schools do this understanding the differences, because you need a lot of parental manpower to help do it on a volunteer basis. But when you get to the middle school, all the kids who had been exposed to learning they became allies. And they were not, you know what I mean? And they would shut down bullying because they understood. And so you would hear these stories of kids in high school saying, like, yes, I was, XYZ. How was it? Well, it wasn't so bad because, we had this program in my elementary school. And then when I got to high school or middle school, if someone didn't, my friend from my elementary school would be like, hey, don't do that. Or, hey, no. And so I felt like, like it, saved me. And so I feel like books like that can do this. So I'm just going to read a few of the pages. I need a squish. I need a squeeze. I can't explain why. I get jitters down deep inside, and it makes me want to run. How fast can I go? My feet zing when they hit the ground. Whop, whop, whop. And then, like there's various, challenges of getting dressed because there's, sensory issues. But finally, ready to get out the door. One shoe goes on, two shoes go on. Push, 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 push. Test your shoes. I smile and stomp, stomp, stomp. And it calms my jitters down. I need to swing. I need to fly. I can't explain why. The cool air rushes against my face, through my hair. The strand tickles my cheeks. So things are going well in the playground, but then all of a sudden, the sandbox just has sensory issues because, sand can be so uncomfortable, Tiny specks of sand cover my hands. I shake it off. It won't come clean. I wipe it off again and again. I wipe my hands down my shirt, down my pants, all the way down to my shoes. Yuck. Wipe again. And I think we all can relate, like post beach, when you're coming back and you got sand in your bathing suit, and it's like, you can't quite get it out. You can't quite change. It's kind of stuck to you. It's just like not the greatest feeling, especially if like you're sitting, in a sticky seat. So I can relate. My jitters are getting louder now. I hum louder. Maybe if I shake my hands, it will go away. Shake, shake, shake. Yuck. Shake, shake, shake. Ah. My jitters are roaring in my ears. Why won't it come off? I'm crying. Everything is loud. My tears are loud too. But look, I think mom knows what to do. So moms do know what to do. But you know what I mean? Like moms are superheroes, but you still have to go through the process of discomfort, and despite knowing what to do, there's still drama. And so I think one thing this book can show is like, if you see someone going through this, know that, the mom has it under control. She's doing everything she should be doing. And sometimes just watching and being supportive and not passing judgment is the kindest thing you can do. So now I think the sand is gone. I need a squish. I need a squeeze. I can't explain why. I squeeze her tight. She smells like soap and waffles. We sway back and forth. My mom is warm and soft. Her hair tickles my face when I snuggle in. And in this case, the sensation, which might have been figurating, it's so associated with love and comfort with his mom that it's, it's making him feel better. Mom hugs so strong, so long, so safe. I hear the thump, thump, thump of her heart. I love you, she says. I don't say anything, but I squeeze a little tighter and it calms my jitters down. And it's also like a story about like how sensory aware children are, like almost like superhero senses, like super hearing or super sensitivity. Oh, I forgot to share. I wanted to share my giveaway. So it is a copy of the book, this beautiful hardcover book. And it also is these animal fidgets, but they're like alien creatures. You can see them up here. And they glow in the dark. So that would be great for bedtime. You could read the story with a flashlight. You can play with the fidgets. You can bring the fidgets to school or put it in a backpack. But I just feel like it's a good reminder to just, I don't know, like realize that autism is a spectrum and that everyone has, like not everyone's the same in terms of how they react or what will trigger them or what will calm them. But, I think as moms, like we've all been there, done that. We've all had kids who've had meltdowns and, and there's good days and bad days. And sometimes like we're on top of it and we have the patience to, like be like, oh, I'm super calm as my child has this meltdown in public. And sometimes it's just like, it's like the very last straw. And you're just like, like having a bad mom moment and hoping no one is recording you and posting it publicly. Anyway, we'll discuss more because we have the author here. And also want to mention that Bex, the illustrator, is also she has other books, but she's also doing, I think it's almost like an Indiegogo. Like she's doing a little like a mini book of one of her books. And so just to be, maybe we can share that. We'll find it on I'll put it in the chat or something, or find it on social media. You can follow her on social media. But I think I see Ruth. Hi, Ruth.
Ooh, hi.
That class, and let me pass it off to Ruth.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. I see we have a smaller, more intimate group today. So I'm kind of going to change up our activity a little bit. So like I said, my name is Ruth for those that don't know me, which is Lindsey and Jovi. I'm sorry, I might mispronounce that. So first of all, I love this book. First thing I always say is I start our activity is that from children's book, you can always learn something. And even as an adult, I could definitely relate to this book. As an adult, there are things that I do to make sure that I calm down, like taking some deep breaths, like sometimes feeling really frustrated with work, or I work with kids, so you really need to have some patience. And sometimes kids do something, you're like, okay, deep breath, right? So those are some things that you have to do. So I just wanted to start this off with asking everyone a question. What do you do in order to calm down or to self-soothe? And I would like for everyone to participate because we're a small, intimate group. So, all right, let's see. Ellie, would you
yes,
start?
I will volunteer myself. So for me, how do I calm down is sometimes I just take deep breaths or make a sound. Whew. So take 10 deep breaths. And other thing I've been trying to do is put cold water on my face. So it actually stops me to think and be like, oh, I can feel water on my cold water on my face. And the other thing I learned was to stand up and stomp your feet. And then you sit back down. But just movement and like a feel, like sometimes that helps me. And then also the like smell. So I put like a peppermint and just like be able to kind of smell that. And then it's like, ooh, that smells so good. And then so my ways of calming down is sensory. So I do love smell, touch, sound. So those are the ways I use.
Awesome. And Mia, yes, you're next to my screen, so go ahead.
I have to talk it out and complain, but I also like find if I take a bath, like a quick bath, just like it's almost like a reset, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like start fresh and then crawl into bed.
Wow, I haven't had a bath in years. That's a good one to just like to just relax. That's a good one. All right, let's see. Lindsey, you're next on my screen.
I'll go. Yes, I'll go. So I definitely have certain sensory things that I do, like the smell of the cool water or the movement. But I notice the things that get me the most worked up, really, I have to check in with myself. It's like where I am at, mentally and emotionally, and figure out why whatever is happening is kind of triggering me. And I feel like that is been the most helpful recently, is like, okay, Lindsey, what about this is making you so upset? Because it's probably not about the thing that's happening. It's more about what it's triggering in me and making me react this way. And being able to look at it and identify it helps me to not react in a way that is, that I won't be proud of. So taking that moment to just kind of stop, think about it, and reflect inside before I react.
So mindfulness. So you're saying like having mindfulness and like thinking back. That's good. Yep. And Rasika, you are next on my screen, so go ahead.
Okay, so I think recently I've been talking. So I have a very good listening partner. So I talk to my husband. So it makes me really feel relaxed. And as Lindsey said, the cause, it's quite deeper. So when I talk it out, I know that this is actually not the problem. The problem lays somewhere else. So I guess talking to my parents back in India or to him really helps. And if I am too stressed, I think taking a nap or a bath really helps. Like you just cut it out completely. And when you wake up, you are not that stressed, or the problem looks a little tiny than the previous one. And when it's this taking nap or talking is not possible, when I'm at school with kids, then probably deep breaths or, a quick yoga, because the kids, they really enjoy yoga. I didn't know that till the time I tried it myself, and they saw me doing, and then to my surprise, everybody loved it. So we do a quick yoga 5 minutes every day. So it
I like that.
Yeah, I love that. Quick 5-minute yoga. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like before I'm bottled up, we have already relaxed. So no chance of bottling up.
What poses will you do for 5 minutes?
We do this book time. So we sit in a circle, and then everybody's sitting in their crisscross of applesauce position, and then we are just raising our hands up and pretending that we are touching the cloud, so it's soft, and we are putting our hands down. So there is this carpet which feels like grass. So we are just touching the textures and just imagining. And sometimes they'll just close their eyes and imagine that they are in a garden or in a forest, and with closed eyes they'll just make sound of the animals. So they'll sit straight, and so yeah, it's kind of mental peace So they'll just sit straight and, things. So I just inventing things, like it completely, sometimes I make a complete joke of myself, but
That's what you have to do with kids. That's the only way they truly enjoy you. Oh, I love that. That's amazing. I'm gonna try that with my kids. I do some of the things that's funny in the book. Like we do
yeah,
some
this the animal one, it really helps. Like they close their eyes and everybody makes sounds of different animals and they love it. So like, and if you close your eyes or imagine you're in a garden, so they have these bizarre ideas. And I mean, yeah, we kind of get some ideas for a picture book. Never know.
That's amazing. And let's see, Jovi, you are next on my screen. Am I pronouncing your name right? Please tell
Yes,
me.
yes, you are. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Let me see. I teach third grade, but personally, when I'm feeling a little bit anxious and out of sorts, I breathe. And like I take a hot steaming shower. For me, those are the two things. And then I turn on my aromatherapy like mister, and I put some lavender drops in it, and I'm good to go. And then as far as school is concerned, that's why I was loving what Rasika was saying. I have lavender in my classroom and I put it in different spots. And staff and the kids always say like, why is it so calming in here? Like, what is that thing? What is that thing? And I said, it's lavender. And so like it's everywhere. But I've been working in that school for 8 years now. And let me see, 6 years ago, I started doing brain breaks and mindfulness time. So right after lunch and recess, instead of going to their regular block, which would be probably like math, science, they have everything. My kids do not do that. I give them a full 10 minutes to decompress, and we call it brain break time. And at that time, there is no talking, and all that you're doing is listening to your body. And I'll say things like, while the music is going on, soft, relaxing music, while it's going on, I say things like, right now, I'm putting my right hand on my heart, because right now, it is my job to take care of my brain, but my emotions. Recess was really loud. There was a lot of jumping. There was a lot of excitement. But right now I have to take care of myself and my brain. And I modeled for them. And I said, I'm noticing already that I'm just doing this for the first like 2 minutes. Already I sense my heartbeat getting more softer, more easier. I don't really feel it like in my mouth. I don't hear the thumping. It's coming down. Well, guess what that's doing? That's connecting right to my brain. And my brain needs a break right now. And so if your body tells you to lay down on the floor, go ahead and do that. And this whole time, they're like this. Some are doing this, because I have like these lollipop brain breaks that I prepared many, many years ago. And so they're in a bin of rice. And so they stand up like wooden sticks. And then I put these little round brain breaks. So the front will say the name of the brain break, like, elephant breath, monkey breath, stretch, all kinds. And so kids know that it is their job to take care of their brain, but most importantly, of their body, and just to listen. So whatever they need for those full 10 minutes, I don't cheat them. There's no shortchanging them. It doesn't matter what's going on in the building. The exceptions are obviously a fire drill or lockdown, but they know that that is reserved, dedicated time every single day. And boy, do our kids look for it. On days that the schedule is kind of crazy, like right now we just started break on Wednesday was our last day, they were saying, is the test prep over? I said, yes. Are we gonna have mindfulness time? Are we gonna have our brain breaks? And I said, absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. Mr. Khalid will wait. That's the dance teacher. He knows that we are taking care of our bodies and of our brains so that we are fully present for the rest of the day. And when I tell you guys, listen, I wish you could walk into my school. It's a beautiful school in the Bronx. It's just beautiful. One of my bosses always says, she says, I know where to come to when I'm all out of sorts. And this is the room that I come to, Jolie. It's your classroom. There's always grace and peace. And I just can get myself together. And I'm just like, I'm really proud of that. I'm just so proud of that. But it takes, practice, and you have to model all day, every day. And it just becomes naturally, and the kids love it. And it really serves them, it serves them so well. Because I have 24 students. Half of my students have IEPs. And so the majority are like autism on the spectrum, and then high attention deficit disorder. And so that's 12 students. So when I tell you that these brain breaks serve not just them, but everyone, it really has been a blessing.
It should be mandatory. I mean, that, like, what you're doing is you're also teaching kids how to connect to their own bodies and emotions. And that's like a life skill, and you're ingraining it so young, it will serve them the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I'm just taking note of it because I'm studying to be a speech pathologist, but you're working with like babies.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to the field of early intervention. But still, with little kids, you got to teach them as well, because usually even now in kindergarten, some of the kids, I'll talk to them and they'll be like, bone, their head on the desk. And I'm like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Let's use your words, or let's take a deep breath. I always try to make it a game. I'm like, let's see who can do the deepest deep breath. And they're like, I can do it. And I'm like, okay, let's have the contest. And they like to do that with me. So I'm definitely taking note of that working with kids. And for me personally, what I like to do is I like to journal. I've been doing that these past few weeks, and it's helped me so much, because I used to deal with so much anxiety. Because I don't know if it's just me. I can definitely relate to what you guys have been saying, but it's just I have so many things on my head, and maybe it has to do with somebody else. And I'm like, maybe I make up the scenarios in my head and make things bigger than they have to be. So when I write things out, I'm like, maybe I realize not as big of a deal as I thought it was, or when I talk it out, right? Sometimes I just keep things to myself, and I'm like, maybe I should just avoid this. But just talking things out, like Mystique was saying, that really helps. Talking things out. Maybe if you have a situation with somebody, doing that as well. It just gives you some peace when you know you're good with everybody else. So I was gonna ask, how do you ladies feel about maybe continuing this conversation?
Oh, I love it. Like, I just wanted to ask Jovi. I thought it was so powerful how you have the lollipop sticks. Like, you empower the kids to choose. And I think that's a big piece of it. Like, it's calm. You got aromatherapy and sensory, but I think that whole empowerment, you choose, is like, I just feel like that. I don't know how you thought of that, but that seems so powerful.
And that's what works. And like when my directors come in the room, they're like, you have like some of the most rambunctious group in third grade. Like, it has to be the fact that you give them this autonomy to choose what fits them. You are not dictating. You are giving them flexible seating. I have a bucket, 2 buckets full of tools, but they're fidgets and they are tools. No one calls them fidgets. Everyone calls them a tool. So-and-so needs a tool. We'll go right ahead. It's not like they're not asking permission. They're like, my body right now, Jovi, like, I need the timer. Can I get the timer? I need to move my body in the hallway. I have rollers that I had here at home that I recycled and I took to class because so many of my kids need that sensory, like on their bodies, and they're rolling on the carpet with the rollers. One has a lollipop. It's like, wow, this is the way it needs to be. Not medication.
You have to write a book. People need to know.
And no medication.
What you're doing.
Like those 12 beautiful, beautiful babies that I have in my classroom this year, none of them are medication. None of them. And the parents are like, what's happening? I don't even get the complaints that I used to last year. And I said, we do things a little bit different in my classroom.
The mindfulness is the medicine.
Yeah. There's a lot of, when I think UDL, I think just simple words like, would you rather use this organizer, or would you rather listen to the story on Epic with your headphones, or would you rather read the same story with a buddy? Like just those words, would you rather?
Choices, empowerment. That's what you're doing. Choices, empowerment.
Yes. Give them the choice. They know. I'm a visual learner. I'm a kinesthetic. I would rather listen to the story. I don't want to follow. Like, give them the tools, and just, I trust in my students. And for me, that is, I really feel that is the secret. You have to relinquish the control, and you have to show that you are human, and they see my vulnerabilities. They see it all because I display everything. When I'm anxious, I say, today, I'm feeling really anxious. And this is the reason why. Today, I'm feeling a little bit bummed out because, Hershey's at the vet. Like, you have to model that, right? Like, and so they know. And, it's like sometimes when I sense a lot of energy in the room and I'm teaching, I'll just put my hand in my heart like this. And I just pause the lesson, like really quick, just like, give me a minute. And they're like this. Don't wait. Don't be stressed out. Something's happening. And I'm just like this. And I say, thank you. And I'm just cracking up in my head. And I'm like, there was so much energy, like toward the back of the room, that I couldn't hear myself in the lesson, and I got a little bit distracted. Thank you for giving me that minute. Boom, and I go back, and my principal's like this. How the hell do you do that? And I'm just like, you gotta just show them. Like, you have to like model the thing that you want to see, right? And they will do it. I'm telling you, they're us. I tell them, I'm like, you're me. When I was in 3rd grade, are you kidding me? Like, yes, you are me. I am you. Yes. Little people, big people, feelings, anxiety, all of it, you name it. There you go. Just peel off the onion, peel it off, and you'll see what happens. You
have the compassion too, though. And you also have the strength to be vulnerable. Because a lot of teachers are just like, they have to be in control. They're worried they can't control.
That's the problem.
Otherwise. And that's what I see, especially with newer teachers. They think they have to be like a general.
Yes.
Or like they won't get respect.
Yeah. I can attest to that. Yesterday I was with, like I said, I work with kindergarten sometimes, and I was working with a student. So she has speech delay. So she can't fully speak, sometimes she like babbles some of the words, and I was working on something with her and she did not want to do it. And like sometimes the adult in you is like, we're going to do this right now. But, I realized, I'm like, hold up, you have to back it up a little bit. If she doesn't want to do it, there's something else happening. And I think that's where the problem is. Like, kids, when they don't want to do something and you tell them you have to, you can tell it doesn't work. You're like, you have to. And they're like, no. And they just get angry. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is what I always try to make it a game with them. I'm like, okay, let's see who can write the letters the fastest. And then she looked at me and she's like, I'm going to do it faster. And just made it a competition with her, because I'm like, if this is something she feels like she has to do, like it's forced on her, she's not going to want to. And I think that's one of the things I've been seeing, one of the things I've been learning. What it means to be an adult, or what it means to be a teacher, is you're a guide to the child. you're not just enforcing things on them of what you have to do. So I can definitely relate to that. And I've seen it and I'm trying to implement that now. It's working with kids. So that's amazing. That's
The way to
something.
go. Trust me, that truly is the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I work really closely with all of our related providers, you know, our therapists, all of them. And a lot of them, I encourage them, just push in, you know, if you're pulling a kid 3 times a week, try pushing in once. And it really solidifies, right? Like the whole entire school community. It's not like, oh, this one teacher is pulling me out because I have, you know, speech delay. It's like, no, we're all in this together and we're here to help you and to serve you, to facilitate things for you. And so it's wonderful how I can see what, let's say, the pathologist is working on, and then the pathologist can see what I'm doing in the classroom and what works in the classroom. And then she mirrors that when she does the one-on-one. And it's just a really ebb and flow of like, this is the way it's supposed to be. We're all in this together and we're all working for the common good of our kiddos, right?
Yeah.
It just makes it so much better when you can collaborate and not think that like, here I go, I know it all, let me be in control. This is my classroom. What's the PT doing at this time? I'm teaching reading. No, like, you know, you can talk. We're human. Like, let's have a relationship. Let the kids see that. You have to mirror all of that. And I just think that it's so super important to really give students choice. I know I don't know what I would. I think I would have been like an astronaut, a scientist today had I been given choices in elementary and middle school, because it really stifles children. It really does. It makes them feel like, you know, like they don't know what they're talking about, like they don't know what's good for them. It's like, are you kidding me? They do know. Give them the tools. Give them the tools and trust them. You will be amazed.
So I want to give some time because we are so
I'm
honored to have Lindsey Rowe Parker here. And I was just like, maybe we could start off the conversation. It's just open to all of us, but I mean, if you could give us some advice on how should we use this month, autism acceptance, or what are some ideas that you would want us to share or know?
I mean, I think the most important thing is to learn from autistic people. I'm bummed that my illustrator wasn't able to join us tonight, as they're an autistic person themselves. And I have learned so much from not only them, but some of the autistic groups that I am in. And that, I feel like that is the number one thing that you need to do, is listen to the people who have lived it. And I mean, yeah, just learn as much as you can. I know that sometimes we talk about autism awareness. There has been a shift to autism acceptance. And there are so many incredible autistic creators out there who have written books and have, you know, created films and all sorts of different things. So there is great content out there by the people who have lived those experiences. My book does have an autistic main character, an autistic illustrator, but the story itself is more based around sensory differences, which, you know, is across the spectrum. I myself am neurodivergent and have sensory differences. Sounds like a lot of people, or a lot of kids in your class, Jovi, are also neurodivergent and have sensory differences. So many of the things that you're saying, you sound like such an amazing teacher, and I'm so thrilled for those kids to be able to have you.
They bless me every day. I'm a blessed person because of them.
It's just,
yeah. I mean, they're phenomenal. Oh my gosh, phenomenal. So one of my colleagues, if you don't mind, she works in our school and her son is in my classroom. He's just got diagnosed on the spectrum. And he said to her on the day of her birthday, we had a compliment circle, because we have compliment circles in our classroom. And she said, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. You just turned 9. I can't believe it. Pretty soon you're going to be in 4th grade. He goes, Mommy, but I don't want to go to 4th grade. I want to stay with Jovi.
Oh.
She goes, oh my goodness, honey. do you mind if I tell her that? And so she, she came in, hey, Jovi, good morning, Lynn. She goes, girl, the celebration is on, but I just have to tell you, don't talk about fourth grade. He said, and she told me the story, and I thought that was just so, I said, wow. Those are the things that really tell you that you're in the space that you need to be. You are doing what you were intended to do. It's part of my legacy. And so, yeah, I'm a better person because of my kiddos, for sure. Yeah. Thank you for that beautiful book. I cannot wait to get my hands on that book and the fidgets.
Yes.
Oh, cannot wait. Can I put in like a express order?
Well, we will have our giveaway quite shortly, but Mia just sent us a text that she lost power and the internet doesn't seem to be working. So that's why she's logged off. But I will take over her portion, which is basically we're going to ask about the book and the author and Lindsey's process in this book, like how she thought of it, and like how did it come about actually behind the story of the book, because sometimes we want to know like how did you get a book made, so Mia is back. So
sorry, we had a manhole explosion earlier in the day and it wiped out power in most of my city, and I just lost power and internet. But I wanted to just quickly share, this is a new book that just came out called Good Different. And it's wonderful because you get April Poetry Month and April Autism Acceptance Month all in one book, and its own voices. It's middle grade. It's her debut. She's I just read it and I just thought it's like a good pairing if you have two different age kids, because this is a middle grade perspective of what it feels like to go through school trying to cope without real supports. And so I just want to give her a plug.
I love that one. That's awesome.
Actually, too, Jovi, if you want this for your classroom, I'll send it to you.
Oh my goodness, would you?
Yeah, because it's like 8 and up, so third grade would be perfect. It's an advanced release copy.
Great. I'm gonna put the name of the school and my address in the
I'm gonna send you an email.
So okay.
Yeah, she'll send it to you. But I think that'll be. I think your classroom will. Benefit from it.
I think you're kind of being the winner. But
you might be the winner of today's giveaway.
We read. You know which one we read? Just Ask by the Honorable Sona Sotomayor. And so she talks about different disabilities. Oh, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
She touches on autism and just beautiful book. Beautiful. The kids loved it. Oh my God.
I wish I would have been here faster.
It was awesome.
But did we get to talk more with Lindsey? I'm sorry I cut out. I wanted to learn more about the process of working with an illustrator and creating the book. Sometimes you don't get to work closely, like with traditional publishing, the editor is like a real barrier to keep people separate. But when you get to do the book together, just like the process of how did you find X and what was that like to like just bring this whole story to life?
So I wrote the book before my daughter was speaking. So she was still pre-verbal, I guess you could say. And my daughter is autistic. And we were going through a lot of occupational therapies and things like that. And I had just kind of had my eyes opened up to, and I've said this so many times, a world that I didn't know that I was already in. So like the world of sensory processing, like you don't really think about it until it's brought to your attention. And you're like, oh, everything I experience, every way that I experience the world is sensory processing. So I wrote just about little experiences that she and I had during the day. And she is definitely a sensory seeker. You can fluctuate throughout every day, being a little different if you need more, sensory avoiding or sensory seeking throughout a day. But she typically, as I am, are sensory seekers for the most part. And so she would love to crash into things, and she would just like loud music and like crunchy stuff and like stuff flail around and like deep pressure squeezes. And so kind of learning from my occupational therapist in some of those strategies of how to give her the input that she needed, that she was looking for, because again, this was before she could speak yet, really helped me help her. And during that, I learned how to also help myself with some of the things that I was needing. I was able to kind of look back on my life and be like, oh, that's what all these things were that I thought I was weird or a strange kid. And really, no, I was neurodivergent and I had sensory differences. And so learning kind of all those things at the same time as writing the book. And I didn't set out to write a sensory story. It just kind of happened. And so I had it all written out. I had a couple different iterations of names. And I was doing the regular query trenches. I don't know if anybody has queried agents before, but I queried agents for a long time with the manuscript, and I got a lot of cute story, but I don't really get it. Not really resonating, things like that. And I think mostly because they probably personally didn't have any experiences with sensory differences. And so I was lucky enough to find my publisher through a friend in my critique group. And she has an autistic granddaughter. And so when she read it, she identified immediately with the story, and she saw her granddaughter in it, and she decided to take a chance because I have not written anything before. And she took a chance on me. And at that point, she was like, it's your responsibility to find an illustrator. And I said, great, I can do that because, like Mia said, sometimes you don't get to choose when you're doing traditional publishing. And I knew that I really wanted to find an illustrator who had experience with sensory differences, experience as an autistic person. And I found Rebecca on Twitter. They are an artist living in the UK, and they had created this really cool Understanding the Spectrum graphic for, I think, Autism Acceptance Month years ago. And it had gone pretty viral. And it really talks about how the line of a spectrum is not a line. It's not you're kind of autistic or a lot autistic. It's more, it's more of a sphere, and you kind of are plotted somewhere around there, and it fluctuates, day to day and for each person. And so reading through that and really loving their perspective on what it's like to be an autistic person. I reached out to them on Twitter and I said, I have a book about sensory differences. Could you read it? And would you consider illustrating? And they said yes right away. And then we were off to the races. So the illustrations in the book, really, I probably gave 3 notes, and the rest Bex just knew. She knew instantly, and it has been an absolute pleasure to work with them. And I'm very, very, very lucky to have found them. We are very excited because due to the success of the first book, we get to make it into a series. So the second one is coming out. Yes, the second one's coming out next year, and it's already written. The next one is Wiggles, Stomps, and Squeezes, Calming My Jitters at School. So this is
perfect.
It's so perfect that you guys are on here, and it's fun to be able to talk about it because we haven't really announced it very much yet. I think I maybe put it on my website, but that's it. So it's happening, and there's such a market for, books that are positive about kids with disabilities, specifically neurodivergent kids. So there's a lot of books out there, and some of them are more geared toward, hey, this is how you deal with this, kid. And that's not right. We don't want to be like dealing with them as they're a burden. They are a piece of our life, or they're our loved ones, they're our community, and they should be treated that way, and not, have other, teach people how to deal with them. That's not right. And so really wanted to bring positive representation, both for the kid, but then for the adults in the story. They are good models. There's not going to be an adult in the series that is like doing things that are, detrimental to the child. And a couple of people have asked me, why don't you have more conflict in the book and in the manuscripts? And I'm like, there's conflict enough in our lives. Like, we want to show good representation and modeling of adults being supportive and caring and the right things to do. And so that's kind of what we're, what we're trying to do is show realistic stories that also are positive and, show the supportive side of living in a neurodivergent world. So, or a neurotypical world as a neurodivergent.
Do you feel like it makes a big difference to know at a younger age if you're neurodivergent versus an adult diagnosis, or as a child, like not being diagnosed, but like, or being diagnosed, and then all the adults and children around them being aware of what that means? Because there's such a range of where people are able to, get properly, diagnosed. And it's,
yeah. I think a lot of times there are barriers to diagnosis. I was lucky and I did not have that, but I'm sure a lot of that is the reality for a lot of people. We take the approach in my family that we talk about it all the time, because it's not something to be, ashamed of. It's just part of our life. I know that when my daughter was first diagnosed, my parents were a little worried because, I was talking about it, and they're like, maybe you should just not talk about that. Just don't tell anyone. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna bring her up that way. We're not ashamed. We're finding ways that she can thrive for her. And hiding something that's a part of who she is not something that we're going to do. So, but I understand where that came from, because I was then diagnosed as ADHD not long after, and realizing that they knew when I was a kid, but they chose not to tell me. Again, this was, the 80s and 90s, and it was, they chose because they were trying to protect me. Now, looking back, I wish they probably should have told me, because I knew there was something different about me. I just thought I was weird instead. So that whole labeling, oh, we don't want to label you. Well, you're going to get labeled other things instead. You're going to get labeled a dreamer, or you're going to get labeled lazy, or whatever those words are that people attribute to you because they don't know what's happening. I internalized a lot of those things, and I know now that they're not true as an adult, but it took me a lot of work to kind of unwrap some of that. And I don't want that for my kid. I don't know, I can't say what that is for everyone, but for my family and for those that I've heard share their experiences, it is best to be honest and let people know what's going on with them.
Like, so much bravery and courage and honesty and mindfulness tonight from all of you. Like, I admire you all so much and want to thank you for sharing your stories. They're so powerful.
Thank you.
We're coming up on 8 o'clock. So let me just quickly show you next month's book, Holding On. It's by Sophia and Lee. Isabel Rojas is the illustrator. So May, we're celebrating Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And, I was from the beginning like, why are there no Filipino books? So this one's Filipino. because it's so easy to, I mean, I'm Chinese, Japanese, married to Korean. It's so easy to like fall into that trap. But the Filipinos, a huge immigrant group in the United States, and we're finally starting to see books. So anyway, I hope you guys will come back for that. But let's just do like a rapid round wrap up. Like if anyone wants to say a few things about whatever.
Bruce had one thing to add.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no, it's okay. It was just to answer your question. I think you were saying like what like the fundamental years for children to get diagnosed, right? Is that kind of what you were saying?
I was just wondering, like, does it does it make such a, I mean, it must make such a difference to know younger versus older.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I was actually because I'm writing a response for Teach for America, right? So I was doing some research because I want to be a speech pathologist, and I came across an article which was studying children in poorer communities like Black and Latino students in comparison to other communities. And it's saying that some of these students, they don't receive the help that they need. So some students from 0 to 5, they may not get diagnosed, or they might not receive that OT that they need or that speech that they need. And those are really the fundamental years, because your brain develops more rapidly, right? You know, you see that rapid development, obviously from a baby all the way to a 5-year-old. So it is really important. You know, it makes a big difference when the child receives that help at the age of 4 or 3 in comparison to when they're 10, because of the way that their brain is developing. So I just wanted to answer your question, because I was actually reading and learning a little bit about that earlier. And it's just that sometimes, like right now I work in an early intervention office, and you'd be surprised. There are some therapists that they don't want to go into the projects. They're like, oh, I'm afraid I might get robbed. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is why I have to do it. This is why, that's kind of what pushes me, you know, to become a speech pathologist, because we used to live in the projects. Me and my family used to live in the projects, and thankfully my brother, he had his OT, he had his speech therapist. But I don't know, maybe I haven't asked my mom, and maybe she really struggles to find a therapist. Like I talk with parents sometimes, and like, yeah, I've been waiting for like 2 or 3 months trying to find somebody to help my child. And it's really sad, you know, especially when you know that these kids really do need this help, and then, you know, parents sometimes they feel helpless. So I think it's just raising that awareness as well, you know, and some communities are not really receiving that help, and that's unfortunate. So that was just to answer your question, but I don't want to end it off, you know, on a sad note. It was, you know, we're raising some awareness about it, and just to let you know that it does matter when the diagnosis has happened. You know, it's the same, you know, with others, you know, you're sick, you want to catch it on early on. I'm not saying it's the same comparison, but just kind of bring that image in head. You know, you want to attack it as quick as possible, and give the kids those tools, because that's what it is, giving them tools to learn how to work with their bodies, or how to express themselves and do different things. But yeah, so that's why I really did love your book. Like I said, even as an adult, I can definitely really relate to it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Why don't we just let everyone have a final thought, and we'll close it out.
Thank you.
Can I get Rasika to, oh, sorry, I just started at the lower bottom.
The final thought. Oh,
just like whatever your final thought of the day, like just like whatever, anything.
Oh, there's so much to learn about autism. As I know a very little, my friend's brother, he is an autistic child, and I have a very limited knowledge on it. But then there's a lot to learn, and so I mean, I had a question to Lindsey, but then I asked it myself. Like, it's a wide spectrum, and how do you decide what to go in a book? So it's like, hello.
You say hi?
Hi.
Is she your daughter?
Yeah. This is Hazel.
Hi.
Hi, Hazel.
Hi.
We're talking about the book, Wiggle, Stomps, and Squeezes. You want to show it? She loves
Yeah.
it.
There you go.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
Lindsey Rowe Parker.
Yes. I think my final thought would just be that, you know, everybody's experience is different. this book is not going to be reflective of every person with sensory differences or autism or neurodivergence. And I feel like the more we just trust people when they tell us what their experience is, the better off we'll all be. I think. Trust people when they tell you what's happening to them.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Jovi, do you want to share?
Yeah. I'm so grateful to be here tonight. And I would just say, showing vulnerability is a superpower. It really is. It's one of my superpowers. And when you are able to show that and see others in that vulnerable state, amazing things happen. You see changes, all kinds of changes. I see it every day in my classroom. I see it with my grandbaby who's on the spectrum as well. And you just have to, use all of the things that we already know in our gut, right, to be true. And that is one way to honor children, and to continue to pay it forward. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to get my hands on those books. Woo, they're gonna be popular in my classroom.
Yes.
Yes.
I will definitely add that. I just sent you email so you can respond to your mailing, but I appreciate everyone's time tonight. And just because we're going to try to stay closely wrapping it up. But yeah, we're going to send you the little animals, and then the book, and then the other book. And then, yeah, so hopefully you can, use them in your classroom and, enjoy. We really appreciate you, Lindsey, for sharing your book with us and being able to have a conversation around it. It's just a nice way to kind of bring people together. And Ruth, thank you again for starting the conversation with us. And Rashika, thank you for always coming to support us. And Mia, always so good that you always bring the coolest authors to our book club. And we're looking forward to next month's. So hopefully you guys can join us again.
Great.
I hope you all have a really great night. Okay.
You too.
Oh wait,
Bye,
I want to.
everyone.
Can I have a photo quick? Because
Sure.
Bruce would like to post it. I'm offline this week from Instagram, so sorry guys. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there she is. 1, 2, 3. There you go. I think I got it. Let me check. Let me double check. You know how it is with screenshots. Okay, we got it. It is perfect. Okay,
Thanks,
so
everyone.
have a good night,
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Everyone.
Bye.
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 Recording. Ooh.